All right, here I'm going to give you some basic quick overview of Premiere and how to create a project, drop a few pictures, a clip of video on a timeline, and then also how to export it and how you should set your sequence settings. So basically I have a little folder here with some pictures I took on my phone and a couple of movie clips that you can see. So there's pictures and some .mov files which were shot with my phone. I do have my phone set to record HD video, not 4K or anything. So it's 1920 by 1080. 1920 by 1080 is the format that you will work in Premiere and also export out of Premiere, because that's standard HD video. So first thing you want to do is go ahead and open up Premiere. So I've already opened Premiere. If you can't find it, if you go to the little launch pad thingy down here and you click on that, and then you scroll over, and the app you're looking for is Premiere Pro 2020. That's the app you're looking for. Okay, so I went ahead and opened up Premiere already. What I'm going to do is create a new project. Okay, so and first let me back up a little bit here. You should have a folder make on your desktop. Don't just have a bunch of random folders. Make one folder on the desktop and then throw all of your assets in there, your pictures, your movie files. You're going to put, if you have any audio files that you want to use, and also you're going to put your Premiere Pro project in there also. So I'm going to go ahead and create the new project, and I'm going to call this production project. Okay, and now if you notice, it wants to put it in some weird folder here in users, W5 video, which is what I'm logged in on this computer as, in my documents folder, in an Adobe folder, in a Premiere Pro folder, and in a 14.0 Promo. So we'll never find that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and browse. So I clicked on that. Then I'm going to go to my desktop here. Okay. Then I'm just going to click on my production photos folder. That's the one I want to choose. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that. Okay. So now my project is now going to users, the user I'm logged in as, W5 video, desktop, and production photos. Okay, and we don't want to change any of this other stuff. Just leave all that as is. Okay, I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to create our Premiere Pro project. And a way to check to make sure it went in the right spot is I'm going to go ahead and minimize by hitting the yellow dot up there, and then I'm going to look in here, and now there should be and there it is, a production project Premiere Pro project, and you can tell it's got the extension .pr for Premiere Pro project. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that back down and go back into Premiere. So in Premiere you have 4 windows that need to be open when you're editing. This is the source window, and you can see it says source up here. Then this is your program window. This is where you'll see your final output of your sequence, and then this is your timeline where you'll edit your sequence. And then this is where all the assets, the effects, the media browser, all the other stuff you need to do when working in the project all live in this panel down here. So the first thing we need to do is bring in our footage. So the way we want to do that properly is to click on the media browser tab here. Okay, and I'm going to zoom back out. And then to make any panel, if you notice when I click in the different panels, it turns like a blue square around it. That means that panel is active. Okay, so I want to make the media browser panel active, and I'm going to hit the tilde key, which is right under the escape key on the top left of your keyboard. It looks like a squiggly line. So hit that, and it makes that window full screen. Okay, so then I'm going to go and find my footage. So I know it's on my Mac hard drive, and once you do it once, it'll find you. So go to, again, Mac hard drive, then users. Then you can tell what user you're logged in as because it's going to have a little house. Click on that. Then I'm going to click on my desktop. Then I'm going to click on my production photos, and here's all my pictures. Okay, so it's kind of processing them right now. So we'll give this a second. So it's processing the different pictures and the different pieces of video, and you'll see my Premiere Pro project in there. Okay, so what we want to do is, while that's processing, it should be pretty quick here. And I think it's going a little slow because I'm also doing the screen recording. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the first one. Then I'm going to hold the Shift key down and click on the last one. And notice it selects all the footage except for my Premiere Pro project. Then I'm going to right click, and on the lab computers, if you right click, you have to hold the control key down. But I'm going to right click and I'm going to import. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and import those files pretty quick. So they're not in media browser. They are still there in the media browser, but this is not where we want to edit from. Okay, they're in the production project, and so this is where we're going to do our work. So I'm going to hit the tilde key again to make that small. Okay, so now we're ready to edit. So we have all our footage here, and you can scroll down and see, here's my movie files down here, and then these are all pictures. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is, chances are you're probably going to want to bring a picture in. So I'll just click on one of these and double click it, and here's a picture. Okay, don't really particularly like that one. Let's click and find a few different pictures. Okay, so here's a picture of somebody working. So let's use this one. This will be our first picture. The way you do your first picture, it also defaults to a 5-second long picture, which is fine for stills for right now. But you're not limited to that. You can actually extend that out to as long or short as you want. Okay, so I'm going to drag this down, put it on the timeline. So I've made my first sequence. So a couple things happened here. We created a sequence, and it's now in my timeline. It actually takes the name from the first thing you drag on the timeline. So the name of this picture was called IMG_5214. So now I have a sequence named IMG5214, and it's right down here in the bottom here. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and rename that right away, and I'm going to call this production project. Okay, and I'm going to just click on that to kind of make it take it. And now if you notice down here, it's now named production project, and this is my sequence area, again my timeline, so I can tell it saved it. Okay, zoom back out here. So now we have our first picture on the timeline. So the next thing that's important that you need to do is to set the sequence settings, because what it does is it sets the settings by the first picture you drag onto the timeline. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if you have trouble finding the sequence, here's the way you do it. If you click on these 3 little lines down here in the timeline, and then I'm going to do reveal sequence in project. So what I'm going to do here is right click on my sequence. Okay, then I'm going to scroll down to sequence settings. Okay, so there's a bunch of things here. So this is a super important, very important that you have to do, and you need to check this when you first start editing. So in the frame size, we want it to be 1920 by 1080, 1920 by 1080. Okay, and we're going to hit save. I just hit enter. But you'll notice the frame size is 1920, which is pixels, by 1080, which is standard 16:9 HD video. So that's what we want. Also, don't change any of the other stuff. Okay, then you hit OK, and it's going to say it's going to have to change my preview file, which is OK. And if you notice, the picture got really, really big. And that's the reason, because this is a actual 1920 by 1080 part of this picture. Your phone takes a much higher resolution than HD video. So now to make this fit into this box here, what I have to do is click on it, highlight it, then I can right click, and I want to do scale to frame size. And now you notice it puts it into the box. There are some black bars on it because this is not 16:9 picture. Okay, we can fix that a few ways. Okay, so I'm just going to keep my blue line over it so I can see what's happening, and I'm going to highlight it, make sure it's highlighted by turning white. So if you notice, not highlighted and highlighted. Then I'm going to go to Effect Controls, and then over here I'm going to click on motion, the little twirl down by motion, and then I'm going to mouse over, scale, click, hold, and drag to my right, and I can zoom in until I get rid of the black bars. Okay, and then now you notice I have a picture with framed up with the black bars, and if I don't like the up and down, it's this number here. So now I can go up or down with it if I want. Okay, we don't want to see the black, so maybe we want to see a little more of the camera here. So I'll go right there. And if I wanted to, I could move it to the right or left a little bit. Not too much, because you see the black bars right there. So maybe right there. Okay, so that's some nice framing there. So there's our first picture. And then now we bring our next picture on. So let's find another picture here somewhere. Okay, well, let's go with this other camera. So next picture on the timeline, and I just click and drag it over here. Okay, and I just paste it to that one. So now I have first picture and second picture, and again, it's all out of whack. So I have to right click here, then right click on this picture, scale to frame size, and now that one's fitting in. So now I can go again with it highlighted, okay, and my blue line over it so I can see what it's doing. Okay, I'm going to go over to my effect controls, scale it up a little bit to get rid of the black bars, and I don't need to move it up and down, so that looks good. Okay, so I got 1, 2, and let's put one more picture here. So here's a picture of our little production area. So let's put this one in. All right, and then again, that one needs to be fixed, so I highlight it, click on Effect Controls, zoom out, so maybe somewhere. Now this one I might have to keep the black bars a little bit because I don't want to cut off. Well, I don't know, maybe not. Let's see. We can go there. Well, let's just go to the black bars and we'll see if the framing looks. That's not too bad. Okay, so here's our 3 pictures. Okay, so I got the first picture, second picture, third picture. So now, so here's a little shortcut to see everything on your timeline. If I, with the timeline highlighted, you can see the blue bar around it. I hit the slash key, which is right under the delete key, and that shows me my whole timeline. Okay. If I wanted to put dissolves, I could select all these by just drawing a lasso around them, hit Command D, and now I have quick dissolves between them. Bam. And bam. Okay. All right, so we have our 3 pictures here. Now, if you don't want the dissolves, all you have to do is you can zoom in if you don't see them. So you can zoom in by hitting the plus key, and the minus key zooms in, out, and then plus key zooms in. And you see where you see the dissolve, you can click on it and hit the delete key, and that'll take the dissolve out. So now you have a cut. I'm going to Command Z and put it back in. So now the dissolve is back in. If you hit play, you'd see it. And then if I want to shorten the dissolve, I can mouse over with the pointer tool selected, click on the edge of it, and then make it smaller. And if you see the numbers, it's telling you how small it actually is getting. 15 frames. It's 30 frames a second, so 15 would be about a ½ second dissolve. So let's see. So it's a little quicker dissolve. And I'm going to zoom back out, and you can see this is a 1 second dissolve. Also, when I select it all and hit the Command D, it actually put a dissolve at the beginning, so you may or may not want that. So if I hit play now, it starts in black and fades up. But if I wanted to just start, I can click there and delete it. So now it doesn't dissolve in. This starts with the picture. When I hit play, it goes. And if you want, and it also put a dissolve at the end, where it just dissolves to black. So there's a couple of things. And then again on the title, so the way you can do that is you can, there's a couple ways to do it. If you click on the up here in the top, there's a graphics tab, workspace, and it's going to take a second to upload it. So you can grab one of these. Now, not all of them seem to work. I don't know if it's hit or miss, but let's just say here's just the basic one. I'm going to drag it onto the timeline. So you drag it on a layer above your pictures. So all your pictures should be on V1, and then anything above it should be on V2. So you can here's our title. Okay, so to edit it, I highlight it, and then now I can go over here in the essential graphics, and you see there was the browse where I could see them. Here's edit, and then now I can type some words. So I double click it, and let's just put video production, and I'm going to get out of the typing mode. I'm going to go back to my pointer tool here. So here's to type, and here's to select it and move it around. If I want to change my font, and it has to be selected, I can pick another font. So maybe I want some big bold font, and I want to make it bigger. So here's a 100-point font, so I can make it a little bigger. If I want to change the color, the fill color, maybe I want to make it like Loyola colors, and then a drop shadow. So there I got something going on. It looks kind of funky. Let's see, let's pick a better font here. So maybe this phosphate. that looks, and then so again there's your color. Cancel out of that. The drop shadow, maybe I don't want it to be black, I want it to be a grayish color. There, now you see it's a grayer color, so it kind of pops a little bit better. If I wanted to go bigger, I could do this and put that on a second line. And then I think I have to have it selected. Oh wait, I can select it with the pointer tool. Now I can go bigger. Move it around by just grabbing it and moving it around. And so now I have, bam, it pops in. And now if I want it to dissolve in, let's say I wanted to wait about a second, and then I can also shorten this clip up. And with it selected, I hit Command D, so it puts a dissolve in it. So now the picture, title dissolves in, title dissolves out, then it dissolves to the next picture. So there's your titles, and you can add, if I wanted to add another title, all I'd have to do is, I could, a couple ways to do it. With it not selected, I can click the browse. Let's say I want to put, I don't know, this right here. If I can put this, and I can actually put that above this title, okay. And now I have this little blue bar coming up next, and if I want it to dissolve in too, I can hit Command D to dissolve, so now they'll both dissolve in. So coming up next, video production, bam. And some of these also, if you notice this, that blue one has some animation to it. Some of them do have animations in the in this section here. So if you want to add a new layer, all you have to do is click on the graphics, new layer, hit text, and there's a new text layer, and it gives you like a basic new text, and it looks like it keeps the same properties as the last one I made. But yours would probably be just white with, you know, plain old lettering. I could pick another font here, maybe this one, the stencil. Maybe make it a little smaller. And I could put, you know, I don't know, double click it. I'll put wolf pack. And maybe put this over in the corner over here. Maybe make it a little smaller. So you can kind of play around with this. And if I wanted this to fade in, Command D it again. So now I got, again, this, I'm just throwing this together, so it's nothing. So there's the words Wolfpack, then that, and then you see that fades out. So, so again, every now and then you will probably want to save your project. It auto saves every 15 minutes, but you can hit the Command S and you see it saves it. So now if the program would crash or something, I would be able to get back to where I am. So now let's add a piece of video. So I'm going to go over here, and we're going to pick a piece of video. Let's see what these look like. So here's like a little circle they made. So I'm going to pick a piece of that. So I'm going to mark an in. I'm going to mark it out. So I marked an in by pressing the I key and out by pressing the O key. So now I have just this part of the clip marked. And if I click on the picture and drag it down, you'll see it puts the video and the audio. So the audio is on this track, video's on this track. And let me remove this cross dissolve. And if I want to put it back in there, I can select here and then hit Command D. So now it puts a little cross dissolve between the still picture and the video. And you'll notice the audio popped in. So if I want to do a dissolve on audio, it's Shift Command D. Now I have a video and audio dissolve. And there we go. And now there's no dissolve at the end. So if I want to add one of those, I click on the end with the little mouse over and get the red bracket. Command D there. Now I have a video and an audio dissolve. So if you want to, and I'm going to hit the slash key to go back, and actually I don't need the graphics anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to my editing workspace. You know, so it closes that panel and kind of gives you a little extra space. You can move your graphics around if you want. You can actually take a picture and slide it down further down the timeline. If I want to put these together, you can select them all and then drag them all together. Like you can do kind of crazy, like putting together a little long skinny puzzle. So you can quickly move stuff around, as you see. You just got to fix the dissolves, but you get the idea. So play around with it. You can do some pretty creative stuff. So when you finish your project, I usually save it one last time in case something happens when you're trying to export. So if you click on this first, then go to Reveal Sequence in Project. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I hit the wrong one. Reveal Sequence in Project. I hit Create Preset from Sequence. So Reveal Sequence in Project. There's my project. So it highlights it for me. Now I'm going to right click on it and mouse down to Media, Export Media, which is one of the last ones you can choose. Okay, so it's going to open up a basically it's Media Encoder built, Adobe Media Encoder built into the program. Okay, so I suggest using, to get a small enough file size, which is good for YouTube and stuff like that, I'd suggest using H.264 and YouTube 1080 full HD. So that gives, we've had really good luck with that preset. So again, H.264 in the format, and the preset would be YouTube full 1080p full HD. Q actually opens up Media Encoder, so if you had a bunch of things you wanted to export, you can actually queue them up and then let them all export at the same time. If you hit the export button, it immediately exports. And it goes to wherever your project, if you notice the file path is my desktop production photos folder and then production project. If I wanted it to just go to the desktop, I could click here on the blue and then tell it I want it to go to the desktop. So now it's going to put my project, which is called production project.mp4, which is going to be the file type, a video file. Hit save. So now if I hit export, it should export pretty quickly because it's very short. Yours may take a minute or two if it's a longer project. Okay, and then now I'm just going to minimize Premiere by hitting the yellow dot up there. So now here's my production project. I'm going to double click it. And it opened up in another player that I have, but there you can see my graphics pop on. Here's my another picture, so it should be the video clip coming up. There's the video clip, and then it should fade to one last picture. There's my last picture, and then it should fade out. I don't remember if I put a fade or not. Nope, now it's just looping playback right now because that's the way this player works. But get the idea. It'll open up in QuickTime or in VLC Player or whatever you have. So that's a quick tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can email me or call me, and I can try to straighten them out for you. Okay, thank you.